Welcome and good morning. Welcome back to Mike Ferry TV. It's the week of April 4th. A couple of weeks ago, I sent out one of our videos and we talked about the fact that, this team thing today is really getting out of control. And I don't understand why it's getting out of control, but it's getting out of control. So I wrote down this question. Why is this team thing in real estate today such a big thing? Because the truth is, this team thing is becoming a big thing. Now, I will say this to you, and I've said this time and time again. If you take the hand and you put a dot in the middle, that is a listing sold or buyer controlled sale. There's a certain number of things that have to be done to complete this transaction. Title insurance, mortgage, home inspection, appraisals, these are all facets of a real estate transaction. So in essence, any agent that does a deal has a team working behind them and supporting them. And that is affiliate services that make the deal go. So really the truth is everybody has a team. But of course what we do today is we're going beyond that. And today we're saying to ourselves, well, is there a way for me to make money as an agent without working? Yes, build a team. Now, I talked about this in a previous video, so I'm not going to go through that whole thought process again. But I want to look at why is this such a big thing today? So I wrote down the following, and I want you to think about this. I wrote, if we look at this big team thing today, first it offers agents a place to go and a place to be part of something. Sabrina has said time and time again that whether you follow myself or any other speaker/coach trainer, if you get deeply embedded in that process of what that person, myself, teaches, and you go to our events, which we have them going on all the time everywhere, and you see the multitudes of people that attend and are there all the time, you almost become part of something which you become part of when you follow the advice of, say, a Mike Ferry. People like to be part of something. Everybody likes to be part of something. Why do you think organizations and clubs and groups and churches and all these places have such enormous followings? Because people want to be part of something. And I think that for some people, if you are maybe a loner by nature and you feel the need to be part of something, a team is a good place to go. It offers an agent a place to go to be part of something because we all want to be part of something. I wrote second, you can generally get leads from whoever's in charge of the team, and you probably don't have to prospect. Why do agents so quickly latch on to teams? Because they don't have to prospect. But yet the people that we coach and train that will have a small team, meaning an agent, listen carefully, who takes 100 listings a year, who will have 1.5 to 2 staff assistants and a buyer's agent to handle the sign calls that come in off those types of listings and whatever methods of procuring buyers that agent uses. If you think about that very carefully, that particular person is not going to prospect. But most of the people we coach that have an individual on their team, they have that person prospect also. Why? Because you have so much free time. So why do we join a team? Because we want the lead sources coming from the person in charge of the team so we don't have to go out and do anything. The problem is most of those lead sources are buyers. Mike, why is the team thing such a big thing today? I wrote down number 3. You will be in a place where your income is limited. No, why would you want to do that to yourself? It makes no sense. I guess most people don't recognize that if you're out listing property, which you have the skill to do, believe me, if you're sitting in an office today and your broker is watching this with you and or using this as a sales meeting, or 2 or 3 of you are sitting around watching this in the office or you're doing this someplace, believe me when I tell you, okay, you are limiting your income in working with buyers, A. And B, you're limiting your income in working with a team. I'll watch this. I have seen so many. I can't even count on both hands, both feet, all of your hands, all of your feet, everybody I know is hands and feet, the number of agents that insisted upon building a team as a team leader, and they just steadily watched their net income drop. Why? Because The more deals you do, the more staff you have to have, the more expense you have, and the more you have to buy the leads to support the buyer's agents. And then you have to pay the buyer's agents, and if you don't pay them well, they quit and go to work for somebody else or become a listing agent, so your margins actually diminish. So if you want to keep your income down, be part of a team. It's great. What a way to go. But I wrote down fourth, you generally, if you're on a team, get to work with buyers who are frustrating and slow to make decisions. Now, how much sense does that make? Why would you want to put yourself in a position where you're driving people around day after day after day, which is what most buyers take today, and as the inventory goes up in most communities today, the decisions become harder to reach because they want to see more than they've seen in the past to buy the right home. It's a logical thing for a buyer to do. But why do you want to put yourself through that frustration? Well, if you're part of a team, you get to work with buyers because most teams don't say, we want you to go out and list a lot of property. That is up to the person in charge of the team. So then why do companies push this so much? And I don't get it, okay? I wrote down the following. I don't really think companies do push teams a lot. In fact, most companies, most of our good broker companies, we have about 400 brokers we work with nationwide. Most of them generally don't want big teams in their offices. Some brokers do. Yep, there's a lot of them. But generally they don't. They take a lot of space, and the return for the broker's investment of space is very minimal, okay? So I don't think most companies do. Now, there is one company that does push teams a lot, and that company is more concerned about agent count than agent productivity. You know, the old days of real estate, 60s and 70s, you know, let's get as many agents as we can in the office. If somebody sells a home, let's have a party. Well, those days went past us, and those days are coming back. Because today, more of one particular company is more concerned about the agent count than anything else. You want to work for a company that is concerned about your production, not being the 256th agent in that office. Choose wisely, my friend, as the most interesting man in the world said in some of the ads that he did for that beer commercial. I'm not really concerned if you say to me, Mike, I like this idea, a good support around my transactions. And I'm not concerned about an agent that is doing 30, 40, 50 deals a year, mostly listing oriented, that has to have an assistant to assist in the process of keeping that production up. And I'm not concerned about an agent that wants to take 100 listings a year that has probably 2 staff people and maybe a buyer's agent to handle all the sign calls. What I'm concerned about is those of you that think that being part of something and being part of a team is the right action. Learn to be a good listing agent. Next week, I'm going to talk to you about how do I get more great listing appointments. And maybe some of you that are involved in these teams will jump on board and become listing agents, which is where the money is, which was last week's conversation. Look forward to talking to you next week. Thanks for today.